Okay. Hello, everyone. So all those marketing folks, he always tell me, no pressure, Peter, no pressure, and then he gives me such an introduction. Okay, guys, well, I know you're all here, not to see actually me. That's another bullshit. Oh, oops, sorry. But the V-line, but I wanted to do a few quick items to talk to you here. And first, I wanted to thank our sponsors. Without the sponsors, that would be very hard for us to make this conference as fun. So please give them some love. Talk to them, visit them in an expo hall, maybe even buy something from them. They like it. So thank you for all our sponsors. We really love you for participating in this conference. The next group is speakers. As Jim mentioned, we had an amazing group of speakers on this conference. There is 195, almost 200. But even with such a large group of speakers and so many talks, we had been more selective this year than any years before. There is a huge competition to be invited or selected and come and talk to this show. And at this point, I want to thank our conference committee. Those folks who have been working really, really hard, sipping through many hundreds of talks, picking the agenda for a conference. So I would like for you guys to join me in applause to all those groups, our sponsors, our speakers, and our committee members. Okay, so before those interests, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the evolving Percona Live. And you guys know, as Jim mentioned, this has been the leading the MySQL focused show for many years. And starting last year and this year even more, we started to add some non-MySQL content to the show. And I have been seeing some of you having a misgiving about that, right? Do we really should expand and add more content, or should we just keep that focused on the MySQL alone, right? And I wanted to explain how do I see the conference and why we are doing what we're doing. First, I want to say I attend a lot of technical conferences myself, as a speaker, as an attendee. And I think I learned more on the conferences, on the talks through a network, and then probably I learned at my school. And that doesn't mean I went to a bad school. That just means the conferences are amazing. So why do technical folks attend the conference, right? I think it's three important things. We go there to learn. We learn there to share knowledge, present, right? And we go there to network with other attendees and speakers. And all of those are very valuable. Now, to have all those things successful, what do we need from a conference, in one opinion? One thing, I think it's very important to have the conference being the open and diverse. What we are doing here is making sure what we invite a lot of folks. And I personally reach out to everyone out there who would you can consider our competitors or somebody who has alternative points of view what I don't agree with, because I want you to hear all the points exist out there, be educated, and make a picks for you. Wherever those are technology picks or wherever it picks for a business partner, I think that is how the most value is created. And I hope as you talk to attendees or hear some folks, you will hear somebody who doesn't like Percona or even me personally too much, because that is what the openness and diversity is about. Just make sure all to follow Percona Live Code of Conduct, right? That's an important thing. The other important thing is, of course, what we make sure to get the quality content out there, right? To have the great talks. And openness alone doesn't provide for that. What we do here is what we really invite the independent committee of very respected community experts who have a lot of understanding of this technology, and let them help us to reach out to the speakers and pick this great content together. And I personally is very involved in this process and act as an editor-in-chief for the conference agenda. Now, another thing you may know is what marketing is not always evil, but then we talk about their conference and the talks. We want more meaty stuff, right, and less marketing pitches, at least on this show, right? And then folks come to me and say, hey, you know what, I'm planning to put the conference on a talk. What should you do? I tell them, well, I tell you what you shouldn't do. You should not claim what you have invented a silver bullet, right? Because there are very many talks which come to that, and really for people who are experts, they understand that there are no such things as silver bullets in technology, right? It's all about the choices and the trade-offs, and you just can't have it all. What you also want is to make sure that you have a content which is useful and practical, right? As Jim mentioned, you are spending a lot of time to get here and spend here, right? Many of you are sent by here by your employer, and they're making an investment. And we want to make sure what the things you learn here are really very useful and practical for you. You can put them to use very quickly. And finally, I believe it's very important what you find talks, your other engagements is inspiring, right? Because I believe if you are inspired, you can do and achieve much more, right, than just being informed alone. And that is another goal which is very important for us. Now, this is all about what we like to keep the same and continue improving on. But what is about the changes coming up? Why? Well, if you guys look at the open source database ecosystem back in 2000, you would see that the MySQL was the only mainstream choice at that point, right? The company started at that amount of time using open source database would vast majority of them choose MySQL, right? And that is what I pretty much grew up with. Now, years later, the ecosystem has changed significantly. There have been a lot of great open source technologies have developed, right, which have all the benefits and drawbacks. Remember, I truly believe that there is no silver bullet out there, right? So now there are a lot of technology choices with benefits and drawbacks, and really, how can we approach that? Well, there are a couple of ways here, right? Should we guys embrace, or should we ignore and pretend nothing is happening and the MySQL out there is the only open source database? Well, I believe as the conference attendees, you are making a choice to invest in your education, to learn the new things and new technology, and you are choosing to embrace the changes happening in the marketplace and learn and find the ways how to advance your companies in the best way possible by choosing the proper way of technology. Now, another way to look at that is this, right? There is a saying I like a lot, which is, if the only thing you know is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? And this is something I believe is a very important note to get in this thing. When you know only one thing, you're comfortable only with one thing, and which makes sure you're not taking the good decision, like using the hammer on the screw, right? What you want for a professional is really to know how to use the right tool for the right job, right? And have the toolbox. The professional may not be as good with every tool in the toolbox, but at least he would know what tools exist out there. Now, if you look at Percona Live, we see there is a probably couple of, let's say, developments, right, what may happen, or you may choose. There is a saying, kind of, jack of trades, of all trades, master of none, right, which typically has kind of this negative connotation. But you know, guys, what we call this guy as well? We call him the polyglot developer, right, or polyglot DBA. Doesn't sound that bad, right, anymore. Well, and this is, I think, increasing choice for a number of people when we in the company may be responsible for managing multiple of technology. But in this case, that is impossible to be the absolute experts in every aspect of all technologies around. Even the MySQL ecosystem alone has become increasingly complicated through those years. So we see a lot of those folks actually as a customers of Percona. They are able to, you know, most things they need in their day job, a variety of technology, but then we can support them when something is, you know, really complicated, unusual, or bizarre. Now, even if you choose not to be that jack of all trade, but you like to focus and be an expert in a single technology, I believe you will do much, much better choices if you understand what it is out there. So for example, even if you choose to be the MySQL DBA, and that is technology you love and you want to focus on, you will be better MySQL DBA and it will help your company better if you're aware about what MongoDB has to offer, right? Or how you can do full text search with Elastic and so on and so forth, right? And as we evolve the conference, we really want to tackle well to both of those kind of professionals. We really want to continue increasing and provide a very deep content on a selected couple of technologies, which is a MySQL and MongoDB at this point, as well as provide a variety of sort of discovery sessions so you can be informed what else is happening, right, in a variety of NoSQL, big data technologies in the cloud, right? And I believe that is the best way for us to become a better expert. So at this point, thank you guys. Enjoy the conference, learn the new things, connect with the community, and inspire each other. Thank you.